Jane Moriarty of Estevan, Saskatchewan. You could win groceries for a year if the kickoffs return for a touchdown in this game, thanks to Safeway Sobeys $1 million touchdown to win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned all the way in this one, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Jane. Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter with the call of the Bombers and the Riders. One more time, CC.
Thank you, Rod. Bigger than Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl, the biggest prairie showdown in over a decade for a berth in the West Final against Calgary. It's the 10-8 Bombers against the 12-6 Riders in the first ever postseason game at New Mosaic.
For the Riders, Zach Collaros had some health setbacks in the middle of the work week, so it'll be Brandon Bridge today. Bridge has playoff experience, came off the bench in last year's Eastern Final versus Toronto, is the first Canadian quarterback to start a playoff game since 1984. Matt Nichols is 0-2 as a Bombers starter in the playoffs, but when you look at his numbers, they are absolutely outstanding. The only number that matters most to Matt Nichols for this one this afternoon is the numbers on the scoreboard, and that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have one more than the Riders.
Mike O'Shea's crew in the playoffs for the third consecutive year. First time that's happened since the 80s. And there's Chris Jones. He's seen a 3-year improvement in Saskatchewan from 5 wins to 10. This year, 12. Both coaches looking for their first playoff win, at least Jones in Saskatchewan. Mike O'Shea overall, and we are underway, and it's Luchez Purifoy fielding the football at the 15, and he'll bring it out beyond the 35, and Purifoy finally stopped around the 40-yard line. So an inspired return for Purifoy, and it does set the scene. We thought even 24 hours ago it might be Zach Collaros, but it is Brandon Bridge getting his first postseason start.
Well, very close to bringing the Riders back in last year's Eastern Final, as I mentioned, against Toronto. Came off the bench after Kevin Glenn struggled. Limited reps this season. It's been a different year than last for Brandon Bridge.
So the Riders take the ball and start at the 40, play action fake, and the first pass is caught. There's Naaman Roosevelt, who has a first down before he gets pushed back. Roosevelt, the senior receiver in terms of playoff experience.
Yeah, hasn't caught a pass in 5 games because he's been injured, but Naaman Roosevelt is the trips receiver, the number 3 receiver to start this off, and they get Brandon Bridge on the edge a little bit where he can run or throw it.
Should say of the starters, Rob Bagg is in the lineup, but not amongst the starting lineup for Saskatchewan. They swing it out here, and it's Marcus Thigpen, and a quick close here from the Bombers to make a stop. Marcus Sales, the tackle.
Well, the Riders are very young in the receiving corps. First playoff start for Moore, Williams, Lambert, and even Cameron Marshall on the outside cannon as well. So Naaman Roosevelt will be key for Brandon Bridge, especially picking up blitzes and adjusting. And there's the nominee for outstanding lineman for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Brendan Labatt, who plays center, not guard, in this playoff game.
2nd and 10. Bridge to throw from the pocket, or is he? Might take off. He does as well, and up, it's up. He's into Bomber territory. It's a first down and more for Brandon Bridge. Helicopter down at the 28-yard line. That's a 32-yard run.
Well, I know there's a lot of Rider fans that were concerned when they got the news that it was Brandon Bridge and not Zach Collaros, but this is the one thing that that Bridge can bring to the table better than Collaros, and that's his ability to not only just run for a first down, but run to make a big play, and that's what Bridge can get done, and he does right there. 31-yard gain for the young quarterback.
Took the ball down to the Winnipeg 28. Cameron Marshall's been so effective in the last 2 games. Up the middle where Brandon Bryant makes the tackle.
Take a look at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defensively. Craig Rowe got a lot of starts because of the injury to Jackson Jeffcoat this year and ended up leading the team in sacks with 8. You go back to the middle linebacker, two-time nominee in Adam Bighill. He's been a difference maker, division all-star and finalist for the outstanding defensive player in the league against Larry Dean in Hamilton. Taylor Loeffler missed the last 2 games of the regular season due to injury, but he's back for this playoff game. All-star at safety.
Bridge 10 of 18 against Winnipeg, throwing the football, and that pass for Williams Lambert incomplete, but a flag flies. Chris Randall was in tight coverage and might have been too tight.
Couple of flags, one in the backfield where Bridge threw it, the other right there, as you mentioned, Chris, in the secondary.
Still sorting it out.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 64. That penalty is declined. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, there was a second flag that apparently was picked up.
Well, it looked like to me the coverage by Chris Randall was solid. I didn't really see pass interference there. I think that's what Chris Jones may be talking about here with the officials, but it looked clean to me on the coverage. So the holding call was the flag, and it was just possibly seen from 2 different officials.
So Brett Lowther in, had a 6-for-6 game in the Banjo Bowl. Terrific season. Top special teams man for the Roughriders, and he puts Saskatchewan on the board with a 33-yarder to open the scoring in this Western semifinal. Matt Nichols has been the starter and has been terrific in his last 2 postseason games. Gets set to go to work here in Regina. CFL playoffs on TSN are brought to you by Shaw, proud to present the 106th Grey Cup. 5 teams left in the running now. Impressive performance by the Ticats today. Matt Nichols rides a 5-game winning streak, personally, into this Western semifinal. Roughriders showing pressure early, and Nichols on a roll. Moves the launch point, but looked like he changed his mind at the last second at the release point, and it's incomplete.
Had safety Mike Edom right in his face, and instead of rearing back to launch this deep, he decided to just throw it away to the open area.
Drew Wolotarski went deep on that opening play. Looked like he might have had a step, but Adams' pressure forces 2nd and 10. More heat. Nichols in trouble. And Mike Edom on the seat again. So this fired up Saskatchewan defense that was #1 ranked in yards allowed this year opens with an impressive series.
Yeah, they got Mike Edom on the line of scrimmage in back-to-back plays. On 1st down, you would think it was to make sure they take care of any run play to Andrew Harris. They didn't. The Bombers go to Harris on 1st down, but they go on 2nd down to stop the pass, and they get there.
Purifoy in there as well, helped force the sack. So Medlock to punt against a stiff breeze here. And in the -10 conditions, like kicking a nice block, 41-yard punt though, Kyron Moore on the return, and he's bumped out at the Bomber bench around midfield. But the Saskatchewan defense with an early flex, and this sack, 15 on 15. The Nissan Titan, the official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. There's our referee, Tom Valesi, wearing ref cam here this afternoon at Mosaic. And the Roughriders' second possession begins right at midfield. Bridge to throw, and he's going to launch deep. He's got an open target, and underthrew, and a penalty coming up against the Bombers as it hung up there. Jordan Williams-Lambert, the intended target. Chris Randall this time does draw the flag.
Yeah, Jordan
Pass
Williams-Lambert
interference. Winnipeg number 8. Point of foul, automatic, first down.
was on the outside by himself in an ISO, and he made a nice inside cut on Chris Randall. It got him behind him, but the ball was well behind him, underthrown, and that drew the flag. Had Bridge been able to get it out there in front of him, it was a touchdown.
You know, Mike O'Shea has talked about this. He says there's a lot of these PIs called on underthrown footballs, and he has talked about it being discussed at the end of the season. He's not sure the rule will ever be changed, but Watford now comes into the game.
And as it stands now, that is interference.
And Watford hands it off to Williams-Lambert on the jet sweep. And down to the 10-yard line. 13 more. Randall and Fogg there on the tackle.
Saskatchewan offensively really has leaned on Cameron Marshall in the run game, but with Watford in there now, this is a completely different look. Now, Watford getting some more reps with the Zach Collaros news and the fact that this week had a bit of a medical setback with regards to the concussion. So it was Brandon Bridge to start. Don't be surprised to see more Watford all year long. They've rotated back and forth.
It's by committee because now we're seeing Nick Marshall. So 3 quarterbacks already. The game isn't even midway through the first quarter on the short yardage situation, and Marshall will plunge ahead and should have it.
Which makes sense because Nick Marshall has been short yardage quarterback for the entire season for Saskatchewan. So now Brandon Bridge back in on first down. And the question is, will they cut him loose? And from what we've seen in this first quarter, they are letting Brandon Bridge basically run the offense, throw the football down the field. We've seen a couple of attempts beyond 20 already.
Riders last in the league in red zone production, trying to get an early major here. And off Marshall, straight ahead, he gets collared. Ball came loose for a moment. Jackson Jeffcoat with the tackle.
May have hurt Cameron Marshall. Also have Marcus Thigpen on the roster today. Jackson Jeffcoat missed a ton of games due to injury. I mentioned that off the top. Craig Rowe taking over. They'll rotate all 3 defensive ends in with Opla Ugo. There's the Jeffcoat hit. Like it may have hurt Marshall's knee.
Contact on the front chest plate, so no horse collar. Second down. Bridge drops. Looks end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Naaman Roosevelt. And the drive stalls deep in Winnipeg territory.
You know, I'm not surprised to see a little bit of rust on Brandon Bridge in the passing game because, as I mentioned, he just hasn't had very many reps at game speed, and now you're taking a playoff game and you're making it playoff game speed, and it's completely different. It's up a notch. So he's been off target on that deep ball to Williams-Lambert, and now on that touchdown possible throw to Naaman Roosevelt.
Last touchdown pass for Bridge July 19th against Hamilton. Wow, they're good on the short field goal attempt. They double the size of the lead here midway through the opening quarter with back-to-back field goals. 17, the first time all 4 divisions of the Canadian Expedition Force fought together in what is regarded as one of the most important victories of the Great War, and one that symbolizes Canada's coming of age as a nation.
4 divisions of Canadians' First Army, over 97,000 Canadians and over 10,000 casualties. That attack started on April 9th, and by the 12th, they had control of the ridge.
101 years ago, an extraordinary memorial, the largest Canadian overseas memorial. Andrew Harris gets 3, and 33 the keys to the game for the Bombers today, and for the Riders trying to stop them.
Has been all season. This Bomber offense has gone through 33 all year long.
Leading rusher in the Canadian Football League for the second straight year. 2nd and 7. More heat. Nichols throws, and Weston Dressler, the former Rough Rider, has the catch. And the Bombers' initial first down. 50th career playoff catch for Dressler as we set the Winnipeg offense for you.
Well, there is Andrew Harris, leading rusher in the Canadian Football League, as you mentioned, and a finalist for Outstanding Canadian. He'll go against Brad Sinopoli of the Ottawa Red Blacks. 2 tackles have pressure on him with Willie Jefferson and Charleston Hughes, and Stanley Bryant is a finalist for Outstanding Lineman in the Canadian Football League.
Nick Dembski in the backfield and takes the handoff and is stopped up just beyond the 50-yard line.
So take a look at what those tackles are up against. That's 25 sacks combined between Willie Jefferson and Charleston Hughes, who led the way with 15. In the linebacking core, you heard Matt Dunnigan talk about him in the pregame show. I agree with him. Samuel Aguavin's had an all-star year. Didn't get the nod, but he's had an all-star season. And Nick Marshall has 3 interceptions and scored on 2 of them this season.
Bombers back in 2nd and 7. And the quick hitter, a slant to Darvin Adams, and a catch and a first down as Winnipeg moves into Rough Rider territory.
So the other thing with Nick Marshall, I mentioned his interceptions and how he's so versatile. We've seen him on short yardage. He's also going to match up against the Bombers' #1 receiver. Darvin Adams is the only Bomber 1,000-yard receiver this season. He's going to see a whole bunch of Nick Marshall here this afternoon. That'll be the matchup. Chris Jones loves to do it. He'll put Marshall on the best receiver from the opposition.
Mike Miller checked into the offense for Kenbrell Tompkins, and a little flea flicker back to Nichols. He's got time, throws, and Wolatarski pulls it down. Nice catch by Wolatarski, and a little bit of razzle-dazzle from Paul Lapalisa's offense.
Well, yeah, in this type of play, you want to try and get the big touchdown throw, but a good decision by Matt Nichols because it was well covered.
And they go no huddle. And Nichols has time without the defense being set. And that pass, they're going to talk about it. Intended for Adams. Is he in? No, they're going to say incomplete.
Let's take a look at that pass that was right on the sideline to Darvin Adams. There's the matchup at the top of your screen right there. And does he get that foot in bounds and make control? No, it looked like the ball touched the ground.
Hit the ground. So it's 2nd and 10, 36-yard line. Be a 43-yard Medlock field goal if they don't advance the ball into a stiff breeze. Another quick hitter, it's Wolatarski. Early contact there by Creston Butler to make sure he doesn't get any further. And it will be 3rd down, and looks like it'll be about a 38-yard attempt for Justin Medlock.
But a good bounce back and solid drive for Matt Nichols and this Bomber offense. And it started with a run and getting Andrew Harris established and getting that defensive line for Saskatchewan at least looking at Harris before they move on to their pass rush move.
See the numbers on the year for the reliable Justin Medlock. Left footer up and straight through. So Winnipeg on the board. They cut the Riders' advantage in half with that drive against the wind in the opening quarter. Well, it's a storied rivalry, but they haven't met in the postseason since the Grey Cup game in 2007. That was the game that James Johnson picked off 3. And Andy Fantuz hit a spectacular touchdown. With more on the Prairie rivalry, Sarah Orleski on the sidelines.
Well, Chris, it's such a great rivalry. It's one of the greatest ones going in the league. And so you would think that these teams would have met more often in the playoffs, but certainly not the case. The last time they played beyond that 2007 Grey Cup, 2003 in the West semifinal. The last time they played a playoff game in Regina, 1975. That was a Riders win. How about this? The last time that the Bombers won a playoff game in Regina, you have to go all the way back to 1955. Back then, it was a 2-game playoff series. They won the first game, and it was accumulated by total points. But unbelievably, these two teams have not met as often as one would have thought in this league.
Yeah, well, we can't get enough of it. I mean, there was the number of years when Winnipeg was in the East, as they were when that 2007 Grey Cup game took place. Purifoy's return up over the 40-yard line once again. So it's been good field position for Brandon Bridge. Let's go back to 1975. Some great names involved in that game, including the Little General.
Not bad. 4 touchdown passes for George Lancaster.
George Reed did what he did. And how about George Wells? 5 sacks of Ralph Brock at the time, pre-Dieter Brock. 5 sacks in a playoff game. Spectacular stuff. And here's the great George Reed. That was his final game in a brilliant Hall of Fame career. Marcus Thigpen inside and up to the 48-yard line.
And just like Prairie Tough, George Reed, like he played, sitting outside watching this game. He's not in some, cozy box somewhere. He's sitting outside in the cold watching this game.
If anybody could get a seat in a suite here at New Mosaic, it'd be that guy. By the way, his last game in Saskatchewan prior to advancing to the Grey Cup. Here's Brandon Bridge dancing around. Anybody home? And Bridge takes a big hit as Jackson Jeffcoat unloads. Missed some time this year. Jeffcoat just 12 games played, 5 sacks, but chalks up 1 here, and the punt team comes on for the Roughriders.
Yeah, well, you can't put this on the Saskatchewan offensive line because they gave Brandon Bridge lots of time, but the coverage in the back end so solid that Bridge can't find a receiver, and finally Jackson Jeffcoat gets there.
So Josh Bartell, a line drive boot. Fogg will get it at the 25-yard line. Sam McGuavin, great on defense and super on the teams with a special team tackle. Told us about a similar story in college. He said, we got stuck playing Montana. I threw for nearly 900 yards in a pair of playoff games, no turnovers, and we lost both. Andrew Harris with a good run inside. Cameron Judge on the tackle.
And Matt Nichols' numbers through the regular season at just over 3,000 yards passing, affected by how much Paul LaPolice, the offensive coordinator, will go to the run game because he has the #1 running back in the league in that backfield in Andrew Harris.
2nd and 3. Harris had 158 rushing yards on Labor Day. He's released from the backfield. They'll flip it inside, and Dressler with a hole into the second level on that shovel. And Weston Dressler all the way down to the Saskatchewan 43.
Here's one that LaPolice digs deep into the playbook to get Weston Dressler on this inside toss underneath. He comes from the left of your screen, little underneath toss that gets himself skinny in the hole, and nicely blocked up front. 26-yard gain for Weston Dressler. And go deep into the playbook for that one.
Mark it at the 45. Should be the final play of this first quarter. Looks like we're in for a good one. Harris again. Trying to find a hole, but nothing doing. And the old teammate Corey Johnson, who takes over at defensive tackle for Saskatchewan, has a stop. That's it for the first quarter of play here. A couple of field goals on the first 2 possessions for Saskatchewan. Bombers playing into the wind, get 1 back. And it's 6-3 after 1 quarter here in the West Center. Time of possession pretty even. The Roughriders had the wind advantage in that opening quarter.
Well, Brandon Bridge gets the start. First Canadian in a long, long time to start at quarterback in the Canadian Football League. Just 10 yards passing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He was off a little bit, just a little bit rusty. Just 21 attempts for Bridge since mid-September at in-game action. So Brandon Bridge is going to have a little rust, and maybe he's shaking that in that first quarter.
He also had a 32-yard run, and we know that's part of his game and what could make it a difficult day for the Winnipeg defense.
But good bounce-back drives, a couple for the Winnipeg offense in Matt Nichols and Andrew Harris. So we've got a close game between two teams that are tremendous rivals, as Sarah mentioned.
So Winnipeg starts the second quarter. Now the wind at their back. They're on the Rough Rider 44-yard line. 2nd and 9. And the draw play to Harris, nothing doing. There's Aguavin, filled the hole and stops Harris for a loss. Number 7 in defensive plays this year, Samuel Aguavin.
Well, outstanding, and you know, you can't argue who are the all-stars out of the West at linebacker. Adam Bighill was one of them, Alex Singleton another, but this guy, Samuel Aguavin, if there was any way to get him on the all-star team, they had to try and do it, because he's had an all-star season. 109 defensive plays, as you mentioned, been consistent from game 1 to now.
Wondered if the Bombers might try a 54-yarder with the wind at the back of midlock. They're looking for the pin instead. He led the league in that department. Maybe the wind not that big a factor, because that punt didn't get inside the 10. Thick pin on the return is contained around the 12-yard line. Well, Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues next Sunday. The Eastern Final. It will be the Ticats and the Red Blacks. Gets the action at 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific on TSN 1, 4, and 5. And in 4K. And a spectacular performance there by Jeremiah Masoli and company today.
Every year I hear that the Western team crossing over is going to have an easier road to the Grey Cup, and they haven't got there yet.
Deepest field position start for the Rough Riders. And the handoff to Cameron Marshall. Good yardage on first down. 11 for 76 against Calgary, and then a huge 19 carry for 134-yard game against the BC Lions in the regular season finale.
Yeah, and that Calgary game was crucial, but that's the big one at the end of the season where he had over 100 yards rushing, and that's what I mentioned. You get up around 7 yards, your rushing average from your tailback, you can go to it. Now you add in the Brandon Bridge factor, running the ball, it becomes tougher to defend.
Go 2nd and 4, back in the hands of Marshall. Bounced off first contact, but the Bombers rallied to the football. They were waiting on Marshall, and it's a 2-and-out.
They brought Taylor Loeffler down from the safety spot to help in the run defense, and when the all-star safety gets down there, he's going to get involved. There's Taylor Loeffler, number 16. He steps down into the middle, takes on the center, then spins out there and helps out in the tackle.
Back-to-back 2-and-outs. Loeffler, 3 years in the league, 3 years as a Western All-Star. Kevin Fogg is back. Bartell with the boot. And at the 50 of Winnipeg, Fogg trying to stretch it out, and he's contained. There's Jordan Reeves, a Winnipeg product, playing for the Rough Riders with a special teams tackle. Andrew Harris, the league leader, being rushing for the 2nd straight year, ready to get back to work when we return. The CFL playoffs on TSN are brought to you by BDC, the only bank exclusively devoted to entrepreneurs. The hot chocolate orders are up today. What the Hardy fans here on the prairies, as you would expect, are here in big numbers and plenty of layers. Best field position start, pressure off the edge, and Nichols got away from Purifoy, and a shoot top catch by Weston Dressler, taken down by Ed Geedy.
You don't see this very often, but Andrew Harris, the league's leading rusher, is also great in pass protection. Number 33 in the middle of your screen. He's going to step to the right, and then he's trying to pick up Purifoy coming on the blitz on the left side, and he just misses him. Matt Nichols makes Purifoy miss and gets the play accomplished, but you don't see that very often.
6 for Dressler, who's had 3 touches in this first half. 2nd and 4. Put it in the hands of Dressler again. Puts down his, lowers the boom, and ends up with a first down as he ran through Ed Geedy, and the former Rider is fired up back into Saskatchewan territory.
He knows what time of year it is. Weston Dressler is a gamer. He knows he's going to step up his game when it's all on the line, and it's do or die time in the playoffs. He had 2 touchdowns in last year's semifinal against Edmonton for the Bombers. 13-yard gain for Dressler.
10-3 with Dressler in the lineup this year. They did not win a game when he was not in the lineup. Here's Harris left side, gets a crease, and Andrew Harris has run for a first down to the Roughrider 31. Wolatarski with a block that opened things up.
Andrew Harris off the left side of the O-line. That's where Stanley Bryant lines up. He's that left tackle. He gets a nice down block. Good block by Dembski on Samuel Aguavin. 13-yard gain for the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League.
You know, we weren't sure he was going to win the title. The last game of the year, he was down by a few yards, and you'd think maybe they'd consider resting him. Harris wanted to go, and when he took the rushing title, saluted his offensive line before leaving the game. Matt Nichols upended there. And a loss on the play as they move it back about 3 yards.
Well, and that was a real team-building moment for Michael O'Shea for this offense, because as they told us yesterday, getting the rushing title is one thing. It's not the ultimate goal because this is such a team game. But it was important. It was important for the O-line, who worked hard blocking for Andrew Harris all season long. It was important for the coaching staff to get that title, and certainly important for Harris.
Sack credited to Eddie Steele, so 2nd and 13. Nichols has another completion to Dressler. Got a flag down deeper in the Saskatchewan secondary as Dressler's dropped well short of the first down.
Well, there is the matchup, and it's Ed Gainey playing against Weston Dressler. I mentioned Nick Marshall is on Darvin Adams. This is how Chris
Illegal
Jones.
contact. Saskatchewan number 28. 10-yard penalty. Will be 2nd down.
Penalty against Purifoy. So the 10-yard penalty will make it 2nd and about 3.
Take a look at the 4 receiver inside. That was the grab by Purifoy.
Ball down to the Roughrider 24-yard line. And off to Harris, not going anywhere. There's Samuel Aguavin again. Waiting on Andrew Harris and dropping him for a big loss.
Samuel Aguavin is right there. This is video study. This is knowing this formation, understanding the blocking schemes, and stepping up so that Andrew Harris does not have a hole at the line of scrimmage and has to bounce to the outside. And once Andrew Harris's shoulder pads are facing the sideline and not headed north-south, defense gets the advantage. A couple of big plays by Samuel Aguavin.
So Medlock comes on, trying to tie this up. The holder is Brian Bennett. Chad Rimple, the long snapper, and Medlock is automatic from that range. And the Western semifinal is tied midway through the second quarter. 100th anniversary of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Armistice Day 1918, the end of the First World War.
Well, many achievements on the battlefields of Europe, and they were capped off with 3 months of victories by the Allies. The Canada's 100 days that ended November 11th, 1918.
Cameron Marshall on the carry for a couple of yards, but Adam Bighill on the scene, the heart and soul of that Winnipeg defense.
Boy, has he ever been a difference maker. Nominated for both most outstanding player and outstanding defensive player, has a very good chance to win both of those awards, with all due respect to Bo Levi Mitchell. And take a look at his numbers. But what a difference maker for this defense.
Third in the league in tackles and in defensive plays. Sets up second and long. Bridge throws, and a tight window, but he's got Naaman Roosevelt for a big Roughrider first down.
Bighill has also helped just turn the attitude and increase the mental toughness level of this Bomber team. But that was a great throw and catch from Brandon Bridge, 15-yarder to Naaman Roosevelt. I mentioned that Roosevelt might become very important because the Bombers and Richie Hall will run all kinds of defensive looks in the back end. They usually rush 4 or 5. If they do blitz, it will be Adam Bighill blitzing, and Naaman Roosevelt can recognize that.
Bridge now 3 for 5 after that 15-yarder. Cameron Marshall and like Harris, the Bombers waiting on him, and Kyrus Wilson takes him down and drops Marshall for a loss.
Just real good discipline from Richie Hall's group up front. Opla Ugo didn't leave his gap. It got a little bit of push from the defensive line on the interior. It's not just the middle linebacker that can stop the run on a defense. It's that entire front seven. In fact, the whole group.
Bomber defense second in points allowed this year, and they allowed the fewest big passing plays. Passing situation here. Bridge has a completion. Roosevelt got a first down in Winnipeg territory.
See, that zone drops, and Roosevelt finding the hole in the zone. When you have a young receiving core in their first playoff game, this is the quarterback's concern, that they're not going to see it quick enough and get to that open area and sit down. It's not about running full speed with your routes every time as a receiver. It's about understanding what the defense is in front of you and making the right adjustments. A 17-yard gain for Naaman Roosevelt.
3 catches, 42 yards for Roosevelt. David Watford comes back in, and the Roughriders go double tight end. First down just outside the Bomber 45. And they'll hand it off to Marshall. Or no, they don't. The quarterback option, and it's Watford down to the 40-yard line.
Was a nice play fake to Cameron Marshall.
I bet.
Yeah, real nice play fake. That's why Watford did have some room to run on the outside.
KD Cannon checks back in. This drive began on the Roughrider 35 against the wind.
I think Rider fans have to be happy about the fact that Brandon Bridge has been more accurate throwing the football on this drive.
2nd and 3 here. They fake the jet. Bridge does get outside, throws it downfield, but short throw, and it's picked off by Kevin Fogg. And Fogg's coming back across the 45, still going into Roughrider territory, and he'll finally get contained around the 42-yard line. Fogg with 4 interceptions during the year and involved in 10 takeaways for the Winnipeg defense. And a big play on defense here for Fogg. Ball badly underthrown.
Well, Adam Big Hill is on the blitz on that last interception, and Brandon Bridge does a great job of beating that blitz to the outside. That doesn't happen very often either, but then loses the handle of the ball. It slips out of his hands on the throw. So as you mentioned, Chris, well underthrown, but this is no surprise that Kevin Fogg created the turnover. He's done it all season long. He is so versatile, great kick returner, defensive back. That's the 11th time he's created a turnover for the Bombers.
Tied for first in that category this year. Andrew Harris with a burst off the right side. And a good gain on first down, almost 10 yards.
Now Rider fans will say, hey, threw it right to him, but you got to be in the right place and be ready to take advantage of the opportunities. And the ball slips out of Bridges' hands, and good field position for the Bombers, and they start with a run right down Main Street to Andrew Harris.
Like an injured Saskatchewan Roughrider. Not sure if it's not. Is it Derek Moncrief? It is Moncrief, the strong side linebacker. Tuesday on CTV, meet the oldest rookie in the LAPD. Nathan Fillion stars in the new must-see police drama, The Rookie, streaming Tuesday at 10, 8 Mountain on CTV.
Here we go. Woo! Let's go! Let's go, boys! Woo!
Take a look at what happened to Moncrief.
Yeah, just like he slipped on the slick turf. A bit of snow on this turf, and he got caught underneath the pile there.
Missed 6 with a shoulder problem earlier in the year. They may be looking at that too. Not sure, but Chris Strebler comes into the game on second down and inches, and he's off the right side. Looks like he'll have the edge, and maybe some more. And Strebler pounds it down around the 23. Led by Andrew Harris. Sam Hurl the tackle.
You could tell by the way Andrew Harris blocks this as he comes out here and is the lead blocker. The way he blocks that, this is design play. This is not a decision by Chris Strebler to take it wide. That's a well-blocked and well-executed play.
And the Roughriders scrambled to call
Prior
a
to the
timeout.
snap, timeout, Saskatchewan.
They had a player run off the field, and in the tempo Winnipeg offense, they weren't going to get the substitution in, so Chris Jones in the last second had to use the timeout. I think it was Corey Johnson running off the field. They tried to wave him back, but it was too late. So they used the timeout to reset here.
And 4 big guys out there on short yardage and wanted to get them off the field and get their DBs back on.
And even with the timeout, Mike O'Shea leaves Strebler in. First down, fake to Harris, runs back the other way. And gets stacked up around the 20. He tried to take a little of the focus off Andrew Harris that the Roughriders have been keying on.
Well, exactly, and Chris Strebler's a great runner, so what do you do on that play if you're playing defense? Now, they do control it, but you got Harris going this direction, Strebler going the opposite direction. You got to pick your poison there, and the Riders rally to it and limit the gain.
Bombers the #1 rushing team in the league during the regular season. Matt Nichols back in. First red zone for the Bombers on the day. A pump fake, and now deeper, and touchdown. Drew Wolotarski in behind coverage.
Wolotarski had to find another gear. As he was running this route at the top of it, he got a little tangled up with the coverage and then had to find another gear to track the ball down. Just an outside move. He puts in fifth and gets in behind Mike Edem.
12 catches during the regular season against Saskatchewan. So a touchdown off the Kevin Fogg interception. 4 plays, 43 yards, and the first major of this West semi.
Come on. Fucking play it. Play it for the kids.
And a little air guitar to boot. Convert good from Medlock. 53 of 53 on the season in that department. Here's Nichols. And the connection to Wolotarski for the first Bomber lead.
That's a demolition of the BC Lions, so Hamilton heading to Ottawa for the Eastern Final. Let's go back to Chris and Glenn.
Yes, we do know it'll be East versus West in the 106th Grey Cup.
What's up, man? What's up, man? Hey, we're roomies.
Yeah, the old roommates, Strebler and Wolotarski, although it was Nichols who threw the pass, but Strebler in on the celebration.
Well, Strebler out of the gate in the first 3 games threw 3 touchdowns to Wolotarski.
College roommates at the University of Minnesota. Purifoy, who's had a terrific year returning kicks, and he's been great in that department today. It's still going all the way down into Bomber territory to the Winnipeg 43. He averaged 37.5 yards a return late in the year.
Boy, well blocked on this return. Saskatchewan getting a man-on-a-man. Not really a lot of open lanes. It's not like there was a massive mistake here by the Bombers. Purifoy makes the first guy miss. Good returners will do that, and then he just goes right down the middle in that return because it was so well blocked. 54 yards and good field position for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, he's set them up 3 times already. This the best field position start of the game for Brandon Bridge and company. And a fake inside to Thigpen on a roll. Opalugo can't catch him. And Bridge runs for a first down around the 24-yard line as he outflanked Tristan Opalugo for 19.
To settle Brandon Bridge down in the shotgun formation here, get him on the run. Got Marcus Thigpen in there, a little play fake to get Opalugo to suck down inside a little bit on it, and now he's got the edge, and when he gets outside, he's got the speed to run away from those defensive ends.
Leading rusher in the game, 2 carries, 50 yards, and a Rough Rider first down at the 25. Thigpen the back, Thigpen the carry. And not much. Stacked right up.
Let's go back to the touchdown by Drew Wolotarski and the great route running on Mike Edem. There's Wolotarski, and watch him come up the field, bend inside, and then go down on this go route, and Edem jumps the pump fake. There's the inside look. Wolotarski then makes his second move, and he goes deep on it in behind number 15, and Matt Nichols just lays it out there for him to go and run it down.
Second and 10 here. Chandler Finner in the Bomber defense. Extra back. And an open target. Roosevelt, and it's overthrown, incomplete. As Naaman Roosevelt had a step on coverage.
And hit the upright. And I think that's why I was wondering why Naaman Roosevelt kind of geared down, just like Wolotarski did on his touchdown. He might have had a chance to go after this, but watch this football at the top of your screen. It hits the upright, and he goes, oh, okay. And that's when he starts to gear down.
So Lowther in. Looking for his 3rd field goal of this first half, and good again. 13-9 the score. With just under 2 minutes remaining and a good first half. Let's go down to the sidelines here. Sarah Orleski.
Chris, when you think about Chris Jones' defenses, they have won championships, obviously, throughout his career here in the CFL, everywhere he goes. But it's not just that. It's the fact that he's been able to take defenses that have been struggling and turn them around. You think about what he was able to do in Edmonton, and then since coming here to Saskatchewan, a large reason why this team was able to go 12-6 in the regular season was because of their defense. He's also created a mentality around them in which is find that end zone. During the week, they practiced not only interceptions, but scoop and scores, and they played off for them during the regular season. This defense had 7 touchdowns. You look at the Riders offense, they had only 25.
Well, he felt they left some touchdowns on the field, but they could have had 3 more. Little shovel toss here with Nichols in trouble. And Andrew Harris able to get it just beyond the 35-yard line.
Well, that's what Chris Jones has done here in Saskatchewan, is he's built his team defensively first, and that defense is not only, as Sarah mentioned, has not only stopped teams throughout the regular season, but they've also scored. They've become an offensive weapon many times. I mean, touchdowns from Willie Jefferson, a couple on interceptions, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown from Toby Antiga up front. Nick Marshall, I mentioned earlier,
tied the CFL record for most defensive touchdowns with BC from 87. Second down over the middle. There's Wolotarski, and that's a second down conversion catch for Drew Wolotarski.
And that's what's important for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Matt Nichols against this Rider defense. Not only to, be aggressive, find that fine line between protecting the football, but also pushing it down the field. But they haven't turned the ball over in this first half.
4th catch of the game for Wolotarski. That leads all receivers so far. Nichols to throw. Bounces out of the pocket and throws it away.
Yeah, good decision. When Matt Nichols and this Bomber team went through that 4-game losing streak, 2 of those games against Saskatchewan in the Labor Day game and the Banjo Bowl, and that's where it went sideways for Nichols. He threw 8 interceptions through that stretch and wasn't making decisions like this, because this is the ref cam showing you what he's facing with Ed Gainey tracking him down, and he just said, nope, we'll live to play another down, and threw it out of bounds.
7 for 11 in second down conversions. Nichols 10 of 13 in the game. Nothing available on that side. Now directing traffic, and it's caught. Another good catch there on a jump ball. And at the end of it, Wolotarski a little slow to get up, but out jumps Mike Edom.
Contested catch, and Wolotarski comes up with it. Again, he's working on Mike Edom. And from a strategical point of view, it's clear that Paul LaPolice, Matt Nichols are going to try and go after this matchup. The Riders defensively are sending Luchez Purifoy from the secondary. You can see Wolotarski getting rolled under there. He's going to get some medical attention.
Go back into Saskatchewan territory, 1st and 10. And the pass cut by Dembski. Cuts it back. And McDembski bounces off contact. First postseason game for the Winnipeg native, former Saskatchewan Roughrider. And as you see, a late flag is tossed by umpire Ben Major.
Chris Jones has brought Luchez Purifoy defensively, Chris, down towards the line of scrimmage, and he's sending him a ton. That's leaving the matchup for Paul LaPolice with Mike Edom, who on the depth chart is a safety, but will move all over the field, and he's in that matchup with Wolotarski. So, seen a couple of catches from Wolotarski against 15.
Looks like this penalty is going against Winnipeg. Was it a tourist hit at the end of the play?
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg number 53. After the play, we'll go back 15 yards and it'll be 1st down.
Patrick Neufeld.
All right, I saw Jamarcus Hardrick, 51, cruising there a little bit, and that's a penalty for an O-lineman to be cruising. Goes in there, and then Neufeld was the 3rd one in the pile, so they gave the penalty to Neufeld, but there were 3 Bomber offensive linemen cruising.
Well, they get the first down, but then it's pushed back to the Roughrider 51-yard line after the penalty. Roughriders showing blitz. Nichols steps up, takes off, and then falls forward around the 46-yard line. And with 21 seconds remaining in the half, the goal here to get into Medlock range. Might be there now, but they can make it a little easier shot for the veteran place kicker. I have to hurry here. And they're going to screen it. Dembski can't make the catch. There was a second remaining. And let's see if they keep that second on the board.
Matt Nichols went straight to the official immediately to make sure that he knew there was a second, or at least he believed there was.
Timer, please put 2 seconds on the clock.
Okay,
Timer, please put 2 seconds on the clock.
I was even wondering if Dembski doesn't catch that because he knew that it was too slow a developing play.
Yeah, possibly. You weren't going to get a chance to give Medlock a shot. Not to mention, pretty well covered, but you can see the clock in the right corner of your screen. 2 seconds left, so get that corrected. Now these are returnable kicks if they're missed.
Kyron Moore's got a punt return touchdown against the Bombers. Justin Medlock 3 of 6 from beyond 50 this year. Final play of this opening half. Medlock up, and he has missed it. And here comes Moore. Kyron Moore with the head of steam, but brought down on a short tackle by Ian Wild to end the opening half of football here in the Western semifinal. We've got ourselves a game with the visiting Blue Bombers up by 4. We send it to Rod Smith and the guys. Back on a chilly day in the Saskatchewan capital as we get set for the second half of play in this Western semifinal. Winner will meet the Stampeders in Calgary next Sunday. And a 4-point Winnipeg lead. Bombers with 178 yards of net offense in the first half. Saskatchewan 117. And just 7 first downs for the Roughriders.
Roughriders a little bit late to get out here in the second half. Get back, you know, Chris Jones was sure going over the adjustments necessary. They go back to the same matchup. Defensively, Uchez Purifoy was down at the line of scrimmage. Mike Edom was in the Drew Wolodarski matchup.
Let's go to the sidelines. Here's Sarah Orleski.
Sam, you're able to hold Andrew Harris in check in that first half, but you guys find yourselves down by 4 heading into the third quarter. What stood out to you most overall out of those first 2 quarters?
I feel like we came out flat. I mean, we made a couple plays on defense, but overall, I feel like we've been flat defense and offensively. But, you know, it's a new half. Tomorrow ain't never promised, so this half we're going to give it everything we got.
How would you describe the mood in the locker room?
They fired up right now. It's a new team that just came out right now, so stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you read between the lines. Maybe Chris Jones had something to say at halftime.
Well, and maybe some of the leaders. You know, the guys stepped up, and Willie Jefferson may have talked about it. There's Purifoy that was on 5 or 6 different blitzes from Chris Jones in the first half defensively. Matt Nichols, though, found a nice balance in pushing the ball, creating offense, touchdown throw, but no turnovers.
Here we go. Purifoy averaged 35 yards a kick return in the first half. And he might have another good one here. Well, he's out beyond the 40-yard line, and that has been the story for Purifoy in this Western semi. And a little post-whistle scrum that gets broken up.
The guys talked about it at halftime. Brandon Bridge was 50%. 42 yards. First quarter, he was flat off. I mean, just showing rust, only throwing just over 20 attempts in game action since September. So there's the first quarter. He was just off off in the accuracy department and then started to dial it in the second quarter. A couple of throws in tight windows, a couple of good reads. Can he take it to another level in the second half?
They open both halves with, oh, nice. Wow, what a great catch that was by Naaman Roosevelt.
Went a little bit behind him, and it was a fastball to the outside.
Bridge fastball.
Naaman Roosevelt reached back and pulled it in.
His fourth catch of the game.
Well, that's a great one.
2 for 20 in his only other playoff outing. Going to say the Roughriders get the ball first in each half. Bombers will have the wind in the fourth quarter. And Marshall, who didn't get much going on the ground in the opening half, has a first down run here. Just 6 carries, 9 yards in the opening 30 minutes for number 33.
Yeah, and I would guess you're going to see more of that type of play with the skill set of Brandon Bridge and Cameron Marshall working in tandem in the run game.
Bridge ran it twice in the opening half for 50 yards. Rob Bagg is in the offense. Appeared in only 4 games for the Roughriders this year. Looked like Saskatchewan may have been offside there. Pass incomplete. Don't see a flag. Like somebody got quite a jump, but it'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Kyron Moore made the wrong adjustment or Bridge threw it to the wrong spot, but there was a communication issue. They brought the safety, Taylor Loeffler, from the middle on a blitz, and that means a quick adjustment for a receiver didn't happen, and that was very nearly intercepted.
Big Pen checks into the offense. 2nd and 10. They empty it out. Here comes some pressure, and Bridge is steamrolled. The safety, Kyrese Wilson got there. Straight up the middle and drops Bridge for a big loss.
Well, they're bringing pressure to see if Bridge can handle it, to see if that young receiving core will make the correct adjustments. They're going to send Adam Bighill. They're going to come with pressure right down Main Street and see if A, it can be blocked up and picked up, and B, can the receivers make the adjustments so that Bridge, if he can't block them all, can get it out of his hands quickly. Didn't get it done.
Kevin Fogg on the return, and a good one as he skips out around the 30-yard line. And Wilson shaken up. Looked like he got all of Brandon Bridge. Came clean and drops Bridge for the sack. Bomber football. When we come back. Mics are hot weekly on CFL Wired.
Not sure if this is your last, but if it is, I'll say it again. Pleasure, bro. Pleasure.
Tipped high in the air and intercepted.
Damn, that fuck.
Oh, look at Gotti. Gotti, you smell like beer too, fool. You stink.
Catch it Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on TSN 1 and 4. John Gott needs his own show.
Ed Gainey just spent that break trying to get the fans back engaged here. And I think it's working.
Bombers start double tight end and hand it off to Andrew Harris. Saguavin got first contact, but Harris falls forward to the 37. Let's check in on the sidelines here again, Sarah.
Chris, there's an injury note to tell you about from the Riders. We saw Derek Moncrief leave the game late in that second quarter. He is out with a shoulder injury. He will not return tonight.
Second and short, and Harris, second level all the way to midfield for a Winnipeg first down.
Saskatchewan canceled the gaps there, but not one of the defenders wrapped up number 33, Andrew Harris. See Willie Jefferson right in the gap where the Bombers want to run the football. He's sent right in that gap, but he's engaged and he can't get off that block and inside to make the tackle.
18-yard run for Harris in the postseason. He has averaged 64 yards rushing per game. 9 carries, 52 so far in this Western Semi. Handed off to him again. Marcus Heinrich leads the way. Cameron Judge, Toby Antigua the tackle, but good running production by Andrew Harris here in this second half. I'd like to welcome viewers who have been watching NASCAR. We're early third quarter here in the Western Semi. The Bombers with a 13-9 lead. And the football in Saskatchewan territory, 2nd and 3. At the Roughrider 47, they stick with 33, and Andrew Harris has another Winnipeg first down.
And if you're just joining us, mentioned the accuracy issues for Brandon Bridge. This one slips out of his hands in that first half, and it's picked off by Fogg. Kevin Fogg leads to this touchdown to Drew Wolotarski. Really, that's the difference in this ball game so far, and that's why the Bombers hold the lead.
Chris Trebler's checked in. The Bombers plus 13 in the giveaway takeaway department in the regular season. That's the only turnover so far today. So Strebler on 1st and 10, and he keeps it after the fake to Dressler. Down to the 38-yard line. Zach Evans, the local product, makes the tackle and limits the gain to 4.
Adjustments being made on the fly here with that Saskatchewan defense with Derek Moncrief now out. They put Toby Antigua out. Now, Toby Antigua has rotated in, mentioned some of the defensive plays he's made, but now he has to remember all of his run-stopping assignments. Make sure he knows what gaps he's in, because that's really been the adjustment.
What Winnipeg has done is limited our calls of the defensive ends. Neither Hughes or Jefferson has a stat so far in this game.
Good point.
2nd and 5. Maybe on cue.
There you go.
Strebler down. And Willie Jefferson is there.
Pretty sure he can't hear us, but on cue.
It was a matter of time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was with the season that he's had and the 10 sacks. I mean, Willie Jefferson right up here, he's going to eventually get there. I don't care if you're an all-star tackle or not. At some point, this guy's going to make a play or two. And there's a one-on-one matchup with Stanley Bryant.
2 all-star defensive ends working against 3 all-star offensive linemen. Jefferson forces the punt team on. And Medlock takes time off the clock. He'll look for the corner. And this one bouncing down at the 10-yard line. Kyron Moore broke a tackle. And a good return all the way to the 29. And that's where Saskatchewan will have the football midway through this third quarter.
Outdoor Clothing is brought to you by Nobis. This is Nobis.
Glad to have the Nobis coats on today.
Are we ever?
Well, we mentioned Brandon Bridge, first Canadian to start since Jerry DiTilio in 1984 for the Concords. Russ Jackson, the greatest Canadian quarterback. There's his playoff record. Don Getty for the Eskimos, 3-3. Last Canadian to win, DiTilio for the Alouettes in 1980. Brandon Bridge starts at the 28. Pass on target. Marcus Thigpen with the catch. And a Roughrider first down.
Confidence building throw for Brandon Bridge. Steps in there, sees the crossing route. He gets Thigpen out of the backfield on that out route, 12-yard gain, and throws it right to the outside shoulder so the defender can't get there.
On the money against Ian Wild, who takes the spot of Jovan Santos Knox.
That's disappointing for Santos Knox. What a great season he's had. And
sounded like it went right down to the wire before they confirmed that he wouldn't go. Rob Bagg back in this offensive alignment. First down, here comes pressure. And a handoff to Thigpen, and over the 45, Randall the tackle, and a pickup of around 6.
Remember Marcus Thigpen in that East semifinal last year against the Ottawa Red Blacks. Saskatchewan, the crossover team, he had 169 yards rushing, and he's the home run hitter for Saskatchewan in the run game. Cameron Marshall will grind out the yards and get Marcus Thigpen that can make a big play at any time.
Had an 82-yard touchdown run against Hamilton earlier this year. We'll call it the 7-yard pickup for Thigpen and 2nd and 3. Here comes Warheat quickly away, and Patrick Lavoie's got the catch. Or does he?
Before the play, offside, Saskatchewan number 85. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
So Kyron Moore called for the offside, so they'll walk it back 5.
Well, Richie Hall, Chris, has decided that on 2nd down situations, especially 2nd and long, they're going to send pressure, going to send the linebackers after Brandon Bridge and see if he can handle that pressure, make the adjustments, get the ball out of his hands quickly and accurately. What will be the next move for Stephen McAdoo to try to counter that blitz?
Chess players watching from the heated booths upstairs. A pass for Roosevelt, who thinks he's been interfered with. There is no flag. Let's find out if Chris Jones elects to challenge.
Well, Naaman Roosevelt is really trying to sell his head coach, isn't he? Let's take a look. We've got a great ISO look at it. And the route run on the rookie nominee, Marcus Sales, and yes.
Well, he's got a case. Does Chris Jones elect to use his only challenge on that play at this time?
Well, he's got it. No, he's going.
He has elected to do it. He wants to keep his offense on the field. And you see the frustration because he doesn't really want to take it on this kind of a play,
but it's a high percentage he'll win it.
Yep.
And it gets him another set of downs and real close to plus territory in a tight ball game deep in the 3rd quarter. I think it's a good decision.
Saskatchewan is challenging defensive pass interference. We'll review the play.
So the Roughriders use their challenge. It looks like it should be a successful one. We'll get the official verdict when we return. Sunday Night Football continues tonight. NFC East rivalry matchup, Cowboys and Eagles. Both teams look to stay in the playoff hunt. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific across the TSN network and on CTV2.
After review, we have defensive pass interference. Winnipeg number 36. Spot of the foul, automatic, 1st down.
And I know what you're saying, Chris, when you see Chris Jones kind of shaking his head a little bit. He didn't want to have to use it for this play because it's not a scoring play. It's not in the 4th quarter because now he doesn't have a challenge for that opportunity later in the game. But I like the decision here. It gets him on the other side of center. He's still shaking his head on it. I get it, but I like the decision. Gives him a new set of downs and a chance for points here.
He just turned and fired the challenge flag away because he won't need it again. But that tells you that it's a bittersweet challenge win. Though it is a 1st down, Cameron Marshall takes the swing pass and he is pushed out of bounds in Winnipeg territory. And yet, despite the coach's frustration, as you say, this could be an important challenge and turning point, leaving the offense on the field.
Exactly. Another 1st down or 2, and you're at least in field goal range if you're Saskatchewan, so you close the gap and get points out of the challenge. I mean, this is a low-scoring defensive game. You've got your backup quarterback in the game in Brandon Bridge. I think it's a good time for Chris Jones to use it.
Now
can they capitalize with points?
6th play of the drive now. 2nd and 3.5. The fake to Thigpen. The pass is caught, and David Roosevelt's been the favorite target. Another Saskatchewan first down.
Yeah, good throw and catch here, and with Brandon Bridge, it almost looks like though he's getting into that. I'm trying to aim the football. He's getting a little bit tentative in letting it go. That one was accurate and on the money, but you've got to just let it go and let it happen. If you're just joining us, Zach Collaros was found out yesterday, not dressed for this one tonight.
First down, heat coming. Bridge out of the pocket, takes off, and runs out of bounds. Away from the pressure of that Winnipeg front.
Now the Chris Jones challenge is at least a field goal attempt. And at this range, Brett Lowther has been money. So he's looking at making it a 1-point game, worst case scenario. Of course, the Bombers are saying, what about a turnover? But I think the Saskatchewan challenge was a good one.
Well, Bridge running for a first down. 3rd time he's done that in the game. 3 carries, 60. Drive started at the Roughrider 28. It's at the Bomber 28. In the hands of number 8, and Thigpen gets stacked up after a gain of about 4.
He was cleared of concussion protocol. You remember the hit from Odell Willis in the last game versus the BC Lions. Knocked him out of that game. He was cleared and started the work week in practice, but during the middle of the work week, Zach Collaros had some issues medically, just wasn't feeling right. And Chris Jones did not want to make any announcements at all, but it was found out by David Naylor that it was going to be Brandon Bridge, and it's been Brandon Bridge starting this football game.
2nd and 5, 9th play of the drive. Bridge looking downfield, and now out of the pocket and taking off. It's another Roughrider first down. Now it's been on the legs of Brandon Bridge on this drive.
You know, and if you're Stephen McAdoo or Chris Jones, just, you know, you could tell Brandon Bridge, listen, take a look at 1 and 2, your first 2 reads. If you don't like it, do this. Just take off and run. We've seen athletic quarterbacks that run well, win games doing that. It's one of the strengths of Brandon Bridge.
Go back into the red zone. Bridge to the sidelines. David Watford in the game. And Nick Marshall will, or excuse me, that is Watford handing it off.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that call. Yeah, I'm not sure about that call. This was a Brandon Bridge drive that he was starting to get in that rhythm and start to feel good about it. And it just didn't look like the timing was off and all of it. And now you just put Brandon Bridge in 2nd and long.
Especially when the threat of Watford is similar, running the football to Brandon Bridge. So
yeah. I mean, look, that's a puzzling decision to take him out of the game there on first down.
A loss of yardage, 2nd and 12. As Bridge returns. With Thigpen in and backpedaling was Philip Blake, the left guard.
Yeah,
prior to the snap.
Chris, it throws off the timing. And, you know, I know Chris Jones, he's done this throughout his career when he was in Edmonton as the head coach.
Saskatchewan number 59. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
You know, he did it there, and he's done it all season. When Brandon Bridge started 4 games, he had David Watford rotate in, and I get that that's been part of the plan all season long, but Brandon Bridge finally getting in a rhythm, the timing finally there for the offense, and then he took him out, and now in back-to-back plays, it's just not been there.
Called Josiah St. John's number. Looked like Blake was also out of his stance prematurely, but officially tagged to St. John, and it's 2nd and 17. Bridge swinging it out. Jordan Williams-Lambert to the 19-yard line. Anthony Gator the tackle, and the field goal unit will come on.
This is a good decision by Brandon Bridge. I mean, he's in second and a ton. I know it's tempting when you get in plus territory like this to look at the end zone and just try to throw it up, hope your receiver wins a battle down there, but you got points. You can make it a 1-point game. The challenge would be successful because you get points out of it with Lowther here if he makes this. Good decision by Brandon Bridge.
Roughriders scored the first 6 points of the game, 13 in a row for Winnipeg. Lowther looking for his 4th of the game. And it's 6 points in succession for Saskatchewan. And it's a 1-point game with a minute 32 to go in the 3rd quarter. So the Bombers with the football as they play this Western semifinal on Remembrance Day. And Mike O'Shea felt that that was fitting.
The Grey Cup has got service teams on it, and I'm so proud when you look at the Grey Cup to see the servicemen that had fought for our country, fought for our freedom, and managed to get in a game of football. I think the two can coexist.
And you could really sense the pride when we sat in on that interview yesterday with one of the great Canadians who's ever been a part of this game.
Well, and we thank all of our men and women in the military and all of our veterans. You know that they had such a great reputation in the 2 wars. In fact, the Germans believed there was always an offensive around the corner if Canadian troops were in the area. You should be very, very proud of what they accomplished.
Late stages, 3rd quarter. Nichols on a roll, has some time, doesn't have an open target, and now throws it away. Wolotarski, closest man to it, but Nichols just throwing it away. Well, Mike O'Shea made reference to the 3 teams that won the Grey Cup. The Toronto RCAF team of 1942, the Flying Wildcats of 43, and a Navy team from St. Hyacinthe, Quebec in 1944. The 42 team included 7 players who went to war and never came back.
There's a nominee for the Jake Godar Award this year from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
2nd and 10, pass caught. Adams a first down. Ed Geaney the tackle, and Jake Godar was part of the 42 Hurricanes team that won the Grey Cup, and of course went on to fight in World War II. He was also a flight instructor and then the commissioner of the Canadian Football League from 1964 to 86. And there's the great Jake Godar. Excuse me, commissioner from 68 to 84.
Mac Henry, the nominee for the Jake Godar Award for Saskatchewan, not in the lineup tonight, but Andrew Harris for the Bombers.
Dembski on another misdirection play. Got strung out, then got drilled. There's a Guavin again. Well, 47 didn't get the defensive nominee, but he's made a case for it today, hasn't he?
Well, he really has, and you heard him talk to Sarah before the start of this 2nd half, and he said they were breathing fire coming out of the locker room. Now, that's a big play to get Matt Nichols into 2nd and long and a passing down. And then the passing down, Saskatchewan throughout the regular season, their defense, as I mentioned earlier, not only stop teams, but they could turn around and score. So Matt Nichols got that fine line again.
Combined 7 tackles for Guavin in the game. 2nd and 10. Pressure coming over the middle, and Dembski can't make the catch. Toby Antigua cut the legs out from underneath him, and the punt team will have to come on. So we're through 3 quarters. Not much separating the Prairie Rivals. A 1-point game headed to the 4th quarter. The winner headed to Calgary next week. Headed to the 4th quarter, separated by a point in type of game I think we probably expected.
Well, you know, every game's a different journey, but yeah, I think we knew that these 2 teams would battle it right down to the wire. We knew that in these conditions, the passing yards would be down, and you can see in both categories they are, and the rushing numbers up. You've got just over 60 yards for Andrew Harris. The leading rusher in this game is Brandon Bridge.
kept talking about how mistakes would be critical. There's just been one turnover. You wonder if one mistake is going to be the difference.
Or a special team return. You never know who will be the unsung hero in these close games. That's what's fantastic about the playoffs.
Kyrie Moore getting set to return this punt from Medlock. And a touchdown return of 65 yards against Winnipeg on Labor Day here. Fields this at the 30. Gets a block. And hanging on by the shirt and tail was John Rush. Or excuse me, Mike Miller helping out on the containment there. So Moore couldn't get away. And now Bridge, who got 3 in the last possession, leading his team out, trying to take the lead. $79 yards passing, 70 rushing for Bridge so far. Play action fake and another completion to Roosevelt at the 49-yard line, has 7.
Boy, the Bomber defense really has to be concerned about those play action fakes, whether it's to Thigpen or Cameron Marshall inside, and then defensive ends. You look at Jeff Coate, Craig Rowe, Opla Ugo. They've got to make sure that they don't allow Brandon Bridge to get outside and on that edge. I mentioned he is the leading rusher in this game, over 70 yards already.
2nd and 3. Here comes Bomber pressure, and it's up for grabs and incomplete. Intended for Roosevelt downfield. Working against Marcus Sales.
Marcus Sales was in such good position. Again, the rookie nominee for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He was in such great position that Naaman Roosevelt couldn't work back to the ball.
So a 2 and out. Fogg drops back. You thinking what I'm thinking on 3rd and 3 from near midfield?
And kick it away.
Chris Jones isn't thinking that.
1-point game. Kick it away. Play field position.
43-yard punt. Fogg trying to turn the corner. Steps out around the 30-yard line. That's where Winnipeg will scrimmage when we come back. Thirteen members of this Winnipeg team, including Andrew Harris, Matt Nichols, are over 30. They believe this is their time. And with more on that, here's Sarah.
They do, Chris, and they want to bring playoff success to the Blue Bombers and their fans. This organization hasn't had a lot of it. The last time they were in a divisional final was out of the East in 2011. But Andrew Harris said that with the adversity that they faced this year, with the momentum that they'd built over the last 6 years, he feels, or 6 weeks, he feels that they're ready for this right now. It is their time. They hold their destiny in their own hands. Matt Nichols also saying that a win would mean everything to him.
Well, there's a good start on this drive, Sarah, with hand off to Harris for a 9-yard pickup. The wind at the back of the Blue Bombers here in the 4th quarter.
Well, if Matt Nichols can put together a drive that eats up a bunch of this final quarter and ends in a major, boy, they've got the trump card in a big, big way. This is a huge drive. Saskatchewan needs a stop.
The Strubbler comes in on short yardage. And as we've seen before, Strubbler has stayed in as they go no huddle after it. They're going to throw, or will they? No, Strubbler pulls it down, and he'll run for the first down up at the 50-yard line, but he's given Saskatchewan something else to think about after that 11-yard play.
You know, that's a good decision by a guy mature beyond his years as far as a player in the pro level of the Canadian Football League. I mean, he looks to try and make the big play over the top and try and fool Saskatchewan. Defensively, they drop off and they have it well covered down the field. He makes a split-second decision to take the run and the first down.
He does stay out. It's another play First down at the 50. Takes to Harris on a roll. Throws it away with pressure coming from guess who? 47's been all over the field.
Samuel McLaughlin had a decision to make on that play. Watch how he walks out now. He wants to stay in coverage here on Darvin Adams and help out, but then when he sees Strebler get outside of containment, he makes a quick decision to force him to throw it away. Well, he's been all over the field in this one.
During the regular season, Winnipeg 42.2% on second down conversions against Saskatchewan. 12 for 19, so much higher today. And this might be a free play. Jefferson jumped offside. And it's like maybe more than one flag. Let's see.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 7. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
That'll be 2nd and 5 at midfield.
Yeah, I think saw Weston Dressler. He's up at the top of your screen here because Dressler went over and talked to him, and he kind of hesitates on the line, and he went over and said something to Willie Jefferson regarding that hit on Jamarcus Hardrick.
Nichols, quick hitter, and he has a completion. Darvin Adams has the catch. He got inside Nick Marshall.
Well, Nick Marshall has made it a quiet night so far for Darvin Adams, but that was a big, big catch to get into plus territory.
Third catch for Adams and a big first down.
The first half, Wolotarski was the favorite target for Matt Nichols. They moved Mike Edom to the wide side corner and put Toby Antigua was the adjustment in at linebacker for Derek Moncrief.
Adams, the only 1,000-yard receiver this year in the game today. Harris inside, runs through an arm tackle, and has another first down. And the Bombers get into Medlock range here. But we'll be thinking about more than that.
A lot of movement from that Saskatchewan defense, which at times is one of the reasons they're so dominant, but sometimes you can get caught moving all over the place.
First down, it's swung out to Harris again. On the run, he has a first down, and now by pass, he gets 9 on a first down play, and he's showing you all the credentials that led to him being #1 in yards from scrimmage this season.
Yeah, and so important to run the ball when the other team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, knows you want to run the ball. When they know it, everybody knows it. Can you still get it done? And that's why Winnipeg's been so good at it, because they have been able to do that all year.
Big teams come in on 2nd and 1. You saw Strebler the last short yardage. Looking pass before running for the first down yardage. Let's see what he does here. Yeah, straight behind All-Star Suk Chung, the right guard. And Matthias Gosen, the center. Also a first-time Western All-Star. Good-looking drive has started at the Bomber 30. Taking 4.5 minutes off the clock.
Every time the Streblers come in for short yardage, he's run that play and then at least one more. Ricochet sticking with the game plan there.
1st and 10. And pressure on. Strebler got that away with Willie Jefferson forcing the throwaway.
Sometimes I think an athletic quarterback like Strebler will believe that in that one-on-one situation with a defensive end on the edge that you might be able to beat him, get outside him, make him miss, and then get around. But watch Strebler, when he sees it's number 7, he says, no, I'm not taking my chances against that athlete, because he'll make the play.
Amped up here, Mosaic, 2nd and 10. Nichols back in. And it's Dembski trying to get a block. And nothing doing. Cameron Judge A stalwart on the Roughriders Eagle package makes the defensive play.
Boy, quick decisions, and when you're down on the field and you're Nick Dembski, you're just trying to read and react and move as soon as you get the ball in your hands. Dembski starts just to the left of your formation here, and then he comes out of there in the screen, picks up the football. If he makes a cut to his right, he is still running. He tries to bounce it outside and outrun Cameron Judge, and Judge tracks him down and says, not on my shift.
No Medlock on. Looking for his third of the game, trying to make it a 4-point lead, and he does. 6 minutes off the clock. They restore the 4-point advantage. 7:21 left. Western Semi. On this Remembrance Day, we remember the brave servicemen and women led by the 3rd Canadian Infantry, who delivered one of the most important victories of World War II at Juno Beach. First of 5 beachheads taken on D-Day, it became the turning point of the Second World War. Victory, courage, sacrifice under the most extraordinary circumstances. Since I was thinking for us, great knockdown there on a defensive play by Adam Bighill.
Wondering if it's
with
live.
that lateral, that's a live football. And last to touch it, Kyron Moore to save it for Saskatchewan. What a heads-up play, not just the knockdown, but sensing that that was a lateral. The officials will
Ruling on the field is incomplete pass.
So they're going to call it an incomplete forward pass, which saves some real estate for Brandon Bridge.
Well, because of what he's done this season, it's been a bit of a quiet night for Adam Bighill, but he gets his hands on that one, and they're saying that was a forward pass that he knocked down, not a lateral.
Where he made contact with it, I think you could make a case, but Mike O'Shea's not going to challenge. Going to take the 2nd and 10. 4 receivers to the near side. Pressure coming, and this time they get him. Jackson Jeffcoat brings down Brandon Bridge. 2nd sack. Jeffcoat.
Yeah, Jackson Jeffcoat. He's right here, and he's coming off the edge, working on to Kobe Cofield. Outside move, gets his hands out of the way. Cofield's hands to drop, and once his hands drop down like that, coming from the left of your screen, the hands drop. As soon as they do, he's got around the corner, and he catches Bridge before he gets going.
Back-to-back 2-and-outs, 4th of the game for the Roughriders. Winnipeg should get the ball in good field position here. The Bartel kick settles at the 50. And it's Fogg across midfield, out at the Roughrider bench in the 53-yard line. So Jackson Jeffcoat, 5 sacks in 12 regular season games, has double-dipped here in the Western semifinal. Just over 6 minutes to go. Bombers with the lead and the football. Time now for the Shaw connection of the game. Shaw, super fan and proud sponsor of the Canadian Football League.
Let's go back to the first half, and touchdown throw from Matt Nichols to Drew Wolotarski. All field goals other than that major.
Matt Nichols 169 passing yards today. That's actually his highest total in 4 meetings against Saskatchewan this year. 166, 165, 155 in his 3 regular season starts. They start double tight end, and guess who? Andrew Harris, 2nd level, and outside! Harris racing over 100, and inside the Saskatchewan 20-yard line.
Can you run the ball, grind the clock with the lead when everybody in the park, including the Saskatchewan defense, know you're going to try and run the ball? The look of the fans says it all. Watch the great blocking up front. Andrew Harris, Gosen, Chung, all-stars in the offensive line. Andrew Harris finding his way to the outside.
37-yard romp. It's his first playoff 100-yard rushing game. And in the red zone, and back to Harris again, right side. And more. He's got another first down, and still going as he backpedals to the 1. The big boys up front.
I can feel it. Talk about those big boys. Willie Jefferson said to us yesterday, we're going to see if they should be all-stars or not. There were 3 of them, Joseph, Chung, and Bryant. They're opening holes now.
And off, straight ahead, Harris to the goal line. And he's in, touchdown, Winnipeg. The Andrew Harris drive, and it's a 2-score Winnipeg lead. Officials conferring here, of course, any scoring play under review. And the ball came out.
Yeah, the ball came out of there.
There was a signal on the backside of touchdown, but that official was blocked and didn't see that the ball was out. And was he down before the ball came out?
Yeah, it was forward progress stopped. Play basically over there.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
Well, the ball's out before it breaks the plane. So will the touchdown stand? And if under review, who got the football?
Well, they're still talking about it. They've just inside they announced that it was a touchdown. Now, if there's an immediate recovery by Winnipeg at the bottom of that pile across the line, considered a touchdown.
And did Saskatchewan come up with the football? It's hard to see who ended up with it last. Don't know if there was
the ruling of a touchdown is under review by the command center.
Okay, they're still taking a look at it. They announced once that it was a touchdown. They're still reviewing in the command center, so this is not affected by the challenge situation for Chris Jones. It's automatically challenged or reviewed. And it's ruled on the field a touchdown, so they'd have to see enough evidence here that the ball never crossed the plane in the hands of Andrew Harris.
I don't think it did.
It doesn't look like it, does it? But are we assuming?
But it's still hard to see.
Are we assuming
who got the football? And is there an immediate recovery is another issue.
And the ball's out. Well, he recovers
he still got it. He recovered it himself.
He recovered it. He reached out, recovered it, and had it across the goal line.
So that's not an issue. The only question, did he break the plane with control?
Well, I think what they're going to rule here, Chris, is that he didn't break the plane, fumbled the ball, but recovered his own fumble across the goal line.
He's pretty confident about it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Spectacular drive for Harris, now at 137 rushing yards in the game. We mentioned 158 at Labor Day.
So if they're ruling, or if they're looking at this now and saying it was fumbled before he's down by contact, you can see the ball there, it comes out. He's not touched down by contact, but it's Harris that reaches over, grabs it. Now he's got the football in his hands across the goal line.
And 53 rushing yards on the drive. Is the drive over, or do they need one more play?
The ruling of a fumble and a touchdown recovered by Winnipeg in the end zone is confirmed by the command center. Touchdown.
First 12.
Outstanding drive to grind the clock, move the football, keep it on the ground, get the big guys up front, blowing holes open at the line of scrimmage against one of the top-ranked, if not the top-ranked defense in the league.
Excuse me, the lead's 10, going for 1. And it's 23-12, an 11-point lead for Matt Nichols and company. And a huge drive here that leaves 4.5 minutes on the clock. Winnipeg with a pair of touchdowns. Both times they've got inside the 20. They have punched it in this game.
Now, for the most part, Richie Hall and the Winnipeg defense on second down situations has thrown some pressure, linebacker blitz at Brandon Bridge. Do they stick with the game plan now, or do they just send 4, drop out and coverage and force Bridge to be real patient, eat up the clock, and be accurate on a whole bunch of throws down the field? Because as soon as you send pressure, you're leaving your back end, the defensive backs, in one-on-ones. One guy slips, it's a quick touchdown. I'd be surprised at all to see Richie Hall switch his strategy here, go with 4-man pressure, and drop everybody else into cover.
Nervous crowd at Mosaic now. Home side needs some fireworks. Medlock booting it, and Purifoy returning it. And Purifoy, another great return. Still going across midfield and finally dropped. Football came loose, but the whistle had sounded, and they're marking him down at the 47. Man, Purifoy has been tremendous all day long on returns.
Now, Brandon Bridge, you're 2 possessions down now. You've got to manage the clock properly. You got great field position from this return from Purifoy, another great one in this game tonight. So getting in and out of the huddle quickly here is important for Brandon Bridge.
What a first down away from scoring position here after the Purifoy return. 4 receivers, 3 of them waggling to the near side. 6 receivers out. Bridge throwing and incomplete. Intended for Roosevelt. Yet Bridge has not had a completion of over 20 yards on a throw since July.
Well, and you'd think that the instructions for Brandon Bridge going in on this series is that you're down 2 possessions, so a field goal in the first one is okay. Can stick really with the offense with just under 4 minutes to go here. That doesn't mean you have to abandon the run at all. Just get a couple yards, 10 yards, kick the field goal here, and then you're 1 possession away.
Get in field goal range is job 1 here. 2nd and 10. Bridge out of the pocket, flips it to Roosevelt. That's a big first down. Bumped back by Marcus Sales, but the yardsticks are moving on the 7th catch of the night for Naaman Roosevelt.
Yeah, and good blocking by Marcus Thigpen to help Brandon Bridge. Thigpen, number 8, just to the left. He's picking up Adam Bighill, which is a tough block for any back. He gets that blocked up, allows Bridge to escape out the right side, and then find Naaman Roosevelt.
So they get in Lowther field goal range to start. Final play before the warning in all likelihood. And Bridge from the pocket releases to LeBlanc. And Patrick LeBlanc dropped at the 31-yard line, so a pickup of about 3. Western semifinal. Winnipeg by 11 as we hit the 3-minute warning at Mosaic. Grey Cup. Couple of weeks away from the brick field at Commonwealth Stadium. Hamilton, Ottawa on the east. Will it be Winnipeg or Saskatchewan against the Stampeders in Calgary next week? Second and 8, Roughriders. Bridge drops straight back, throws, flag down, pass incomplete. Seals on Roosevelt.
Trying to plead his
Illegal
case.
contact. Winnipeg number 36. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's an illegal contact call.
That's been the #1 target for Brandon Bridge in the passing game here tonight. Naaman Roosevelt, he runs that out. Too much contact and grabbed the jersey on the break. Marcus Sales gets called illegal contact.
Roosevelt was 79 of the 100 receiving yards in the game. Pressure here. Bridge puts it up, and there's another flag intended for Kyron Moore, and a bump for Brandon Alexander, who now pleads his case. That's going to be 1st and goal at the 1.
Well, Alexander is saying that on this corner route that the receiver ran into him. Kyron Moore is running the corner here.
Winnipeg number 37. Foul was in the end zone. Ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. Automatic first down. 59 reporting. 5-9.
That probably LG wasn't going to win that. So Nick Marshall, the short yardage group in. He'll try this right side, and Marshall's in. Touchdown.
So the Purifoy return in the great field position. They get the major on the 1 possession.
And they get it in a hurry.
Absolutely. 2 penalties. Get him down on the goal line. Nick Marshall, short yardage, gets to the end zone.
And with the score 23-18, they'll go for 2 as Bridge comes right back onto the field. 2 for 4 on 2-point convert attempts this year. Big play coming up. First Rider touchdown of the night. And they cap it with 2 more. Bridge to throw, and incomplete. Roosevelt didn't survive contact, and it remains a 5-point Bomber lead.
Scoring plays reviewed. They'll take a look to see if he had control long enough.
Wow. That's similar to the play that was hotly contested.
Got a cap
PC, wasn't it?
Yeah, has to have control and survive contact with the turf.
The play involved Eric Rogers of Calgary. A lot of people thought that was a touchdown. That one is rolling around though on his off his shoulder pads, and was there complete control as Randall separates him from the ball, and it is an incompletion. The hands team likely to come out.
And a lesson for young players: keep battling, no matter what it looks like. Keep battling. Chris Randall just did that and got the incompletion call.
You're short kicking here with 2:36 on the clock.
Andrew Harris, you might want to try the short kick and get it over with. I think they might go deep here, though.
Maybe mid-range here, and Harris's momentum takes him out at the 27-yard line.
It's such a low percentage to get the onside kick, and that's why if you have enough time, coaches are always going to try and kick it deep and try and get the quick 2 and out. But as I was mentioning with Andrew Harris as the Bomber running back and what he just did on the last series, that's where you almost wonder if Chris Jones should have just tried for the short side or the onside.
This is where the crowd will try and make an impact.
Can you run the ball when everybody knows you want to run the ball?
Chris Strebler in to help run the ball. Double tight ends. Andrew Harris straight ahead. Big hole. And what should be a first down. Close to it.
Bring in double tight end formation. The Riders are loading the box. They've got guys down in the box, but a great block up front. Patrick Neufeld with a kick-out block. Opened up enough of a hole for Andrew Harris to get to the next level.
It is a first down, so they let the clock roll. Feeding time for that all-star leading offensive line. And it is Strebler, the keeper, after the fake to Dressler, and look at that pile get pushed forward. And a 9-yard pickup on first down.
Suchong with a down block, gets things started up front, and then Strebler just powers his way to big yards here. And I'm saying big yards because when you're trying to run between the tackles and they put every defender between the tackles and you still get that kind of yardage, that's big yards in this time of the game.
194 rushing yards for the Bombers on the day. 5th straight game they've got for over 100, but threatening to go over 200 here, 2nd and 1, and Strebler's got a fresh set of downs.
Well, it's right now. And even at this point, it won't give Brandon Bridge, if they can get the 2 quick plays and out, won't give him a lot of time.
I was going to say, this is when a team that has lived by the takeaway all year long needs one desperately. And Chris Jones has called his timeout.
You just might want to rally the group to wrap up.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
The way you beat the run is get up the field up front.
Well, we told the story in the first half about Andrew Harris saluting his offensive line when he clinched the rushing title, that it was a team achievement. Matt Nichols bought all the big boys winter boots, got the special order in for the big guys, and you can see that they are fired up.
Oh, I love this part of it. This last 8 minutes has been O-line time. Get up there, dig in, and drive them back.
Trying to flash all-star credentials. They need a couple more first downs to really celebrate. And Harris inside and across the 50, 52-yard line. He halfway to another first down. This is the play where the Roughriders need a stop. Well, they move it back to the 51. So,
well, one of the plays that hasn't been run but has been faked a couple times for Paul LaPaluse has been the fly sweep to Weston Dressler. They faked it a couple of times, and if Saskatchewan keeps loading up between the tackles, they may just try it and get around the edge here. Get another first down.
Staying with Strebler in this critical drive on the ground. Handoff inside again, and this time Harris stacked up. Sam Hurl, the middle linebacker, met him first. Punt team's got to come on.
Decide to stay safe. It's a good call to do it. That offensively, stick with Andrew Harris, hit it up in there. If he can get the first down, great. If not, you kick it away. Get the field position and force Brandon Bridge to try and put a major on the board.
Kyron Moore averaged 13.4 yards a return. Led the league in that department. Chris Jones told us yesterday the most improved player on the Roughriders this year. They need a return from Kyron Moore, and Medlock will try and make it as difficult as possible. Great kick. Moore driven back. 43-yard punt. Here comes Moore. But a big tackle there. A clutch one by Brian Bennett.
Wow.
The number 3 quarterback. That might be one of the special team tackles of the year.
Absolutely. It looked like Kyron Moore had something. He got up past that first wave, and I saw a whole bunch of open field to his right, and if he can make that cut and accelerate, he has a shot at a big return. And the third-string quarterback, Brian Bennett, makes a huge tackle.
So the Saskatchewan Roughriders start at their 34. They're 76 yards away from where they have to be with 40 seconds to go. Bridge dropped. Opalugo's been chasing him all day and finally gets home.
This one hurts. This one hurts Saskatchewan because it's three-man pressure. Opalugo's one of them. He's at the top of your screen, but this is exactly what we've talked about. Richie Hall's going to drop everybody else and force Brandon Bridge to throw it underneath. Just sent three, and Opalugo got there.
The 2nd and 15. They send 4. Bridge is backpedaling. Now tries to take off. Trying to get to the sidelines and has a first down and stops the clock with 18 seconds left.
Gives him a chance. 2, maybe 3 plays.
Big 16-yard run for Brandon Bridge, up to 86 of the game.
2, maybe 3 plays. You're going to need a chunk here. Bridge can extend it with his legs, as he's showing you here.
First down up at the 46. Time running out. Pressure on. Sidearm throw. Marshall can't hang on. 8 seconds left.
Brandon Bridge got hit hard as he delivered that. Jackson Jeffcoat, who for the Bombers has been one of their top players tonight. He steps into a hit here and rocks Brandon Bridge. And that's a high hit as well. You see the offensive line for Saskatchewan wanting the call here.
No flags on the play. Watford's going to have to come on. And David Watford wants somebody to play catch with here to loosen up the arm, because he's going to have time for one deep throw. Well, how high a hit was it?
Yeah, to me it was to the head, and it was ducked chin. We've seen it many times, and it's been called.
Well, they missed the call here a couple of weeks ago on Collaros on a similar hit, and no call here, which will be a lengthy point of discussion when this game is done.
And some will be saying, well, wait, he doesn't have the same protection as he would have, Brandon Bridge, if he was in the pocket looking down the field, because he was scrambling around. But what I'm saying here is it's still an illegal hit to go to the head here, and unnecessary roughness.
Here's what Tom Valesi's seeing, and
his view is blocked by Patrick Lavoie, so
he doesn't see it.
He can't see it, can't make the call, and then that's a great example of what can happen at game speed. And one of the reasons for the last 3 weeks the league has been telling the other officials on the field, including the umpire, to be looking for hits like that, because sometimes the head official will be blocked. Zach Collaros could not start this game because of the hit by Odell Willis.
And Brandon Bridge will not be able to finish because of that hit. And David Watford will take the final snap, or maybe 2, for the Roughriders in this Western Semi.
Well, the first concern, of course, is for Bridge's health, and the fans upset with that, but it's the 15 yards that are missing, right? And the penalty as well.
Bridge on his feet. A little woozy as he makes his way to the sidelines. Eight seconds remaining. And David Watford comes on. 18 of 48 on the year. And he needs a 19th completion for his biggest play of the season to keep Saskatchewan alive.
I think you go about 15 yards here on a quick out and then load up with a couple seconds left.
Here we go. We're loaded now. Only Bombers in the vicinity, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Anthony Gator with zeros on the clock, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are headed to Calgary for the 2018 Western Final. First Bomber playoff win since 2011.
Well, there'll be all kinds of talk about that last hit, but the Bombers earned it tonight. And you go back to that drive by Andrew Harris, the big run drive that ate up the 53 yards of real estate in about 5 minutes.
Time now for the Nissan Titan Player of the Game. Brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Matt Nichols found the balance tonight. He got the running game going, and Andrew Harris got a lot of those 153 when everyone knew the Bombers wanted to run the ball in the fourth quarter, especially that drive of 53 yards I mentioned to kill a whole bunch of time and get down there and score that final major when he recovered his own fumble. Andrew Harris is our player of the game, but the Bombers found the balance between pushing the ball and being aggressive, but not turning it over against the Saskatchewan defense.
Captain here, the winning points on that plunge and fumble recovery in the end zone, and honorable mention that Andrew Harris would insist on to the big boys up front to help pave the way in this one. So the surprise starter, Brandon Bridge, ran for 86 yards himself, but the Roughriders unable to generate enough passing yardage to go with it. So the East Final set, it'll be Hamilton in Ottawa. The West Final will feature the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Calgary Stampeders. After a victory by the visitors here, 23-18 at Mosaic. Hope you've enjoyed it. So long from Regina. Here comes SportsCenter.